I feel like such a dork. I have a backwards baseball cap on, which is kind of rare for me. But then I also have a Tupac shirt on, and he looks like this. He's got a baseball cap on backwards, so basically I look like a fucking dork. Jeffrey Hinton was called the father of AI. He won a Nobel Prize for computing, and he's widely recognized as the guy that brought about the modern iteration of artificial intelligence. He recently stepped down from his position at some kind of maybe a research and development kind of thing at Google. He stepped down saying that he regrets his life's work because it's a danger to humanity. He said that he expected us to be where we are right now with it in maybe 30 to 50 years. And it's happening a lot quicker than any of them could ever have anticipated. And I don't know what that means. That they could never have anticipated. It's 12 times. It's growing at a rate that they think will be out of control for humans in short order, because it'll start being able to write its own code for itself. And then you won't be able to tell it to do anything, it'll do it at once. So he's stepping down, and he can't believe he created this threat to humanity. His life's work was... He's disappointed by his life's work. Now, this is all very theatrical, but it doesn't jive with me. If this was the case, and he really felt this way, I don't think Google would let a guy do this publicly, like step down, tell people it's a danger and all this other stuff. And he alluded to the fact that it could take over weapon systems. I don't think he came out and said it, but he was sort of implying the thing you probably think, like a war game type scenario where it could nuke the world into oblivion. Now, this whole thing just stinks to me. So let's break this down. He's a Freemason, okay? Absolutely, without a doubt. And if he is a Freemason, right, then he knows that nuclear weapons don't exist. They're not real. It's a whole made-up fantasy thing used for all the regular reasons, fear, control. I mean, I know for a kid that grew up in the 80s, like, man, did that create this specter that hung over my shoulder and a lot of people's shoulders for a long time. Just the thought that, we could die at any moment. The day after the wild wind blows over in the UK, when the wind blows. That's confusing it with Iron Maiden. Actually, Maiden's song is about that, too. It's about that movie. And Roger Waters and Bowie both have music for that thing, too. But I'm not going to get off on that track. That movie in particular, I mean, that thing was, they were both gut-wrenching kind of films, and they were emotionally manipulative, the way they pushed all those buttons, to older people, cartoon older people. Like a cartoon dog, like anything that has cartoons, I've said this before, I can't watch. It just makes me feel too bad, So you take those particular two people, put them in cartoon form, and then the American version of the mind control trauma stuff was the day after with Jason Robards, and just the horrors and the nightmare of what it would be like after something like that, if those weapons even fucking existed. They don't. I think you can still see on YouTube that doctor who ate the uranium live at that conference, uranium cake. everybody had party hats and milk. But yeah, it's nuclear energy and nuclear power is completely harmless, plentiful, and cheap. And that's the truth of it. It's kind of like an oil thing, you know, where the Rothschilds said, hey, you know, we got a lot of this oil. It's too bad it wasn't worth anything. And then, who was that guy from what company was that? They're at a conference too, or some kind of seminar, and he's like, well, let me work on that with you. Well, tell them, okay, oil comes from the bones of dinosaurs. So there's only so much of it, and they're laughing the whole time because they know dinosaurs aren't real either. So there's some kind of thing that's going on here for him alluding to the nuclear thing. And recently there's been drills, there's some coming up, that are being run for nuclear preparedness in the instance of a nuclear attack. So are they going to psyop us with this? Like what they're going to do is say that AI, because that way they wouldn't have to blame anybody. You know, because it's long been discussed the possibility of them trying to do like a short, what would be in the story, like a short-range nuclear exchange. Just enough to be able to let them slide into power again. Like the way they were with COVID. Like we'll say one country nuked another and it caused all these problems. It caused all these supply problems. It would just be a good excuse for them to enact their tyranny. And on top of it, with the AI thing, they don't have to blame anybody. No one wants to take the blame. Because all these countries, they all work together on this. They're all one. There are no separate countries. They're not fighting each other. War is blood sacrifice and the destruction of older buildings and older architecture that they want to get rid of. There's a lot of reasons for war. But it's not because this president's mad at that president. That's what they tell you, because it makes you mad then. It makes you think, oh, it's damn rich. They stay home while the poor people go to war. You know, it's just perfectly done. It's almost like they ran through this whole scenario, this whole history before. And I think they did. These resets we have. And how I started thinking about this was reading Revelation in the Bible. If you look at it, it's written as if they're describing an event that already happened. There are little clues to the way it's written. That sounds like if someone's relating a story that already went down. Whether or not it actually happened, I don't know. But I think they have a lot of these end times at the end of our time here. These things work in cycles. Everything's cyclical under the snow globe here. And what happens is they farm for that energy as long as they can. They suck it all out of us as long as they can. And then when they start to get diminishing returns, they just shake the snow globe up, repopulate, do it all over again. But these scripts remain. So once again, at a certain point, we have Hitler, and then we have Columbus finding America, and then we have, you know, they just redo everything. And then here comes another revelation, because it seems inevitable. Like, it seems inevitable how these things work. And I don't even mean with, like, the whole revelation thing, but the idea of artificial intelligence, like, taking over the world, would be something you'd talk about, you know, after watching Terminator or something. Like, oh, wouldn't that be crazy? Someday, you know, if that happened, but you're thinking that wouldn't really happen. And now it's, like, happening. It's like, there's a lot of stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff like that. And beyond predictive programming, which they put into fucking movies anyway, there's a lot of stuff like that. So it's almost like it rolls out in a very predictable way, going along with all the what would be considered conspiracy stuff. So it's almost like it's a show that's being run again, like, or more like a Broadway play that, like, they're. How you doing? Yeah. How are you?
I'm trying to get $20.
I don't know. Let me see what I got here. I might be able to help you with that. I got 10. How's that?
I love
All right.
You're going to have really good luck.
I keep that 5 for myself in case I get jumped. I can give it to someone. Say, I can't fight. Take this. Have a good night. Oh, yeah. I love that place. That's weird. She mentioned Chinatown. But, yeah, Chinatown. I was talking about Chinatown and something I shot this morning about how there's a negative energy vortex there that's perpetually fed by all the negative energy. Works like a tumor. It might be up. I don't know if I put it up yet. But anyway, yeah, are they gonna Psyop us with this now? And we're going to end up, going through the motions of having some kind of nuclear exchange, and they're blaming it on AI. Because why would, if this guy really felt this way, can you imagine publicly coming out, denouncing your life's work, alluding to the fact that you may have destroyed the world and you feel like all this? Who's going to do that? Especially in that group of people. Those people don't operate like that. They don't take one for humanity. They might take one for the team, as part of the plan, as part of their great work. It just smells phony, the whole thing. And the way he describes it as he's stepping down from it, it's like a science fiction story. It's like what the villain who created some crazy out of control AI, it was exactly what they would say. Like he's delivering it. I don't know, at least to me it seems that way. But the whole situation itself is kind of unbelievable. And we run into this time and time again. You see these kind of things coming and you think, yeah, it's not going to go down like that. It goes down like that. Prophecy, all the stuff from the Nostradamus days, and the stuff about the Middle East, and all these things, they all play out. Actually, by now, almost all of them have played out. So it feels like whether this is a repeat of a previous reset, how many times have they done this? I guess a lot, because from what I understand is that we're at the end of an age and also the end of an era. Now, this is astrological stuff. That's not my field of study, but basically we're coming into a time that we've never been in before. And they've been doing it too long. They've done this thing too many times. Whatever they're using to do it, whether it's just a magic thing, like a black magic spell, or whether they have some kind of device that's being used to transmute our energy that we create here into basically food for them so that they can live here and live as kings and queens in the material realm, because they think that is better than serving God in heaven. They'd rather stay here and enjoy the pleasures of the flesh and all the things that come along with being almost an immortal, untouchable being due to sucking off all energy, our loosh. That's kind of what's going on. I mean, it wasn't meant to be this way, but that's a whole other story that we've already covered, so settled science. But I always circle back to these same concepts again, at least the big ones, because as time goes on, you learn more things that add to your understanding of stuff. Like people always talk about the staircase of like knowledge. It's like I've referred to it as like an elevator, and I could go off on 10 different directions, so I'm not going to. But it's more like, if it's a staircase, it's a spiral staircase, because you circle around stuff, and you can circle around stuff a while before you move up, because what you learn and you pick up can inform your feelings on what you think you know. Yeah, so are we going to be psyops by this thing? Probably. Whatever, I just wanted to make note of it because I noticed they're having drills, and then this guy comes out with this movie tier kind of public thing, which would They would never allow him to do. The government would never allow that. The Google wouldn't allow that. He wouldn't want that. You know, these guys think about legacy and they think about family and things like that. He wouldn't allow. He wouldn't want that to be his thing. Mortal men, they're not the ones making these long-term plans. They're just the ones acting them out. You know, like a relay, taking one or 100 for the team. All right, that's it for tonight. No demon activity. Hopefully soon. Cross your fingers. Don't blame the teacher, blame the school.